House Leader for the official opposition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate the difficult position that this whole scandal has put you in, and I appreciate your ruling where you spelled out the normal course of actions for members to follow when dealing with a chair occupant or dealing with the Speaker. And I appreciate the fact that you also acknowledged the time-sensitive nature of what this scandal has caused for the House and for members. As you know, I made substantive remarks yesterday in making the case for this motion, for this privilege motion. And to save the House's time, I won't go through all of those again, but just to sum up the points. The Speaker has incredible authority here in the chamber. The Speaker makes decisions that are not subject to appeal. There's no higher authority that members can ask for a second opinion should they lose out on a point of order or a question of privilege. The Speaker's word is the command during debates. If the Speaker doesn't like something that was said, the Speaker can take away the floor from a member. The Speaker has the sole authority to expel a member from the chamber. And the Speaker is the only person that can name someone and force them to leave the chamber for the rest of the day. And that decision is not appealable either. In other parliaments, that type of thing must be ratified by the House. In our chamber, the Speaker has sole executive authority. And the reason why I'm talking so much about the incredible powers that the Speaker has is because for members to accept someone to hold that power, there has to be trust in that person. And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to just mention at this point in time that I'll be sharing my time with the honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable. So that is the type of authority the Speaker has here in the chamber. Around the precinct, the Speaker also has incredible authority as well. He chairs the Board of Internal Economy. The Board of Internal Economy sets the rules about how members are able to use resources to fulfill their functions. Everything from printing protocols and ensuring there's adequate translation services to what types of expenses are allowed. It's a very important role. And for members to accept someone to hold that authority, they must have 100% trust that the person who holds that position is exercising their duty free of any partisan bias, free of any favoritism or preferential treatment. And it can be challenging. You know, we all get elected through a political process. All of us seek a nomination. We join a political party. We sell memberships in that party in advance of a nomination race to win that nomination. During general elections, we go out and we pound in signs promoting our party, both in terms of the brand and in terms of the policies and in terms of the leader. And we all understand that. When somebody enters this place and decides to run for Speaker, usually somebody who chooses that option goes to some length to assure members that they do have a nonpartisan side, that they can put aside their partisanship, their partisan affiliations, take the Speaker's chair, put on the Speaker's robes, and be impartial. Now, in the case of the current Speaker was the former President of the Liberal Party. The current Speaker was the Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister right up until he ran for Speaker. In the course of this Parliament, between the last election and the date that he was elected as Speaker, the current Speaker was engaged in very partisan activities. He was on, as the Prime Minister's Parliamentary Secretary, he was busy because there were a lot of scandals the Prime Minister was involved in. There's all kinds of ethics violations and spending scandals and allegations of corruptions across multiple departments. And the current Speaker would dutifully go to committee, defend the Prime Minister, engage in filibusters to prevent the committee from arriving at a decision, and go on TV with other members of other parties and make accusations and defend his boss in a very partisan way. So we were all asked as MPs to go on a bit of a leap of faith with this current Speaker, that after being elected, after winning a majority of the votes in the House, that he would go above and beyond what might be expected. Because his partisanship was so intense and so recent, we went out on a bit of a limb to believe that he would put aside all that partisanship and conduct himself in a way that would earn that trust and justify that trust. And we did give him the benefit of the doubt. And that's why it was so shocking. I could not believe my eyes when I saw the image of the Speaker in his robes, in his office, here on Parliament Hill, at a hyper-partisan political event. I mean, this was no quiet dinner amongst friends. This was a leadership election convention for the Ontario Liberal Party, a party that he doesn't even, in a province that he does not currently reside in, Mr. Speaker. So I was shocked. At first, I honestly thought it was a bit of a joke. I thought somebody was trying to troll me or something like that, and I didn't believe it at first. And then upon seeing the other images shared and seeing the video itself, I realized, oh my goodness, the Speaker has actually done this. And here's why it matters for Canadians. You know, we've heard the Speaker's excuse yesterday. We talked about the incredible authority, the need for the trust between the House members and the Speaker. And if we think of other institutions in Canada that we could all instantly recognize the need for impartiality and the need to make a serious change if that impartiality is ever broken, we can think of many such examples. Imagine the case in the NHL. If there were images displayed of an NHL referee wearing his referee's uniform, giving a pep talk to the Toronto Maple Leafs in their locker room during an intermission, how would fans of the Montreal Canadiens, the Ottawa Senators, the Edmonton Oilers, how would they feel if they ever had to see that referee ref a game between those two teams? Now, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if the referee did that because he happened to know one of the players, or maybe he had some close personal relationship and he didn't expect it to be videoed. He just thought that he'd go in and say a few encouraging words and then leave. Because once you see that image, you can't unsee it. And that doubt will always be there. And doubt is the opposite of trust, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Imagine a court proceeding. Imagine you're a defendant in a court case, and you see an image, someone texts you an image of the judge in his robes at a backyard barbecue with the Crown prosecutor. Now, again, the judge might have all kinds of context that he would want you to understand before you jumped to conclusions, but would you want to go through a trial with a judge that had shown that kind of partiality and bias? I know I wouldn't. Imagine a situation between a union and management that has gone to arbitration, and then that arbitrator is seen at a restaurant in his attire in the same clothes he wears during the mediation session, and now he's sitting down with one of the parties involved in the dispute. Would a union want to accept a ruling, even if there was context, even if there was rationales behind it? Of course not. And that's the situation that we find ourselves here in this House, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And that is why our recommendation to the Standing Committee on Procedure and House Affairs will be to recommend to the House that the Speaker resign. Because we do not believe that to go forward, to accept those rulings without appeal, that this current Speaker can fulfill that rule. Yesterday, I mentioned a few very important cases that are technically still under the purview of the Speaker. One touching on a budget bill, whether or not the budget bill was properly introduced because of a Ways and Means motion error that the government made. It's our contention that that motion should have been ruled out of order. That's a budget bill, Mr. Speaker. That's a Ways and Means motion. That's taxation and spending. And for us to trust that the Speaker made that ruling last week, free of any bias, free of any partiality, is just impossible after seeing those images. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I hope my colleagues in the House will agree with me that this situation is serious, that it matters not just to members, but to Canadians, because this is the pillar of our parliamentary democracy. Support this motion and support our calls at committee that the Speaker do the right thing, put the institution above himself as an individual, put the role primary, in a primary way, and do the right thing and step aside. Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker.